Today we are talking about how to both fix and prevent Achilles tendinitis and heel pain. My name is John and I am a physical therapist. In this video we're going to talk about several different things that you can easily do on your own to help fix this problem. Now before we start, we need to understand why this happens in the first place. It all comes down to overuse of the tendon. Imagine everybody has some arbitrary threshold that if they exceed that threshold, they will cause damage to any structure in their body, in this case, the Achilles tendon. When you do any sort of activity, the more you do, the closer you will get to that threshold. Now, when you have tendinitis, your threshold is very low, meaning that you can tolerate minimal activity before you are causing more and more damage. If you do things correctly, reduce your activity over time and let things heal, that threshold will slowly increase over time, and then you can slowly add more and more activity. Now, if you don't do this and you continue to run or play whatever sport you're playing that is causing the heel pain in the first place, you will likely never get better because you continue to stress your body more than it can handle, and you're not giving yourself the amount of time that it needs to properly heal. So before we do anything else, you need to know if you're not going to stop running or doing whatever that hurts your ankle and leg, you're not likely to get better. Now, with that, let's start with something that's easy, simply foam rolling your calves. Now, the point of this is to help massage the calf muscles and help reduce the tone of those muscles. Because when you have a tendon injury, the muscle tends to tighten up and guard against movement. Now, when it's guarding against movement for this tendon specifically, every time you step, you are stressing this, and because the muscle's tightened up, it's not allowing motion of the ankle to the degree that it should. So by foam rolling this, helping to get the symptoms to calm down and reduce that muscle activity, we can then move on to stretching of the calf. To properly stretch your calf, you have to stretch both the gastrocnemius muscle, which is the muscle that we would typically consider the calf muscle, and then a muscle that is deep to that called the soleus muscle. You have to stretch both of them because they both attach to the Achilles tendon. If you only stretch one, you may or may not be helping improve the flexibility. To stretch the gastroc, you'll simply drop your foot off of something where you keep the knee straight, letting that heel drop down. You should feel a stretch either in the muscle, in the lower leg, or in the Achilles tendon itself. I would avoid anything that's very painful here. It should just feel like a mild to moderate stretch. To stretch the soleus muscle, what you'll want to do is lean up against a wall and then put the foot you want to stretch out in front, put the other foot far behind you. From this position, we're going to push that knee forward to try and stretch that front ankle. If you need to put the ball of your foot up on something to get a good stretch here, you can go ahead and do that. But simply the goal is keep the heel down, push that knee forward. You should feel a stretch either, again, in the lower leg, the Achilles tendon. You might even feel it in the ankle joint itself, which is a good thing. It means your joint is just tight and it needs to be stretched. And over time, this will help improve the flexibility so that the muscle and tendon are under less stress whenever we do anything. Strengthening the foot is a lot more important than people tend to realize. A good metaphor or analogy to use here is when you're walking on the beach in the sand. As the sand gives way, your calves have to do a lot more work in order to propel you forward. By that same logic, if your foot is very weak and it just caves in whenever you take a step, your calves have to make up and take up that slack. So they end up doing a lot more than they otherwise would because the foot isn't doing its job. Now, to strengthen the foot, there are several things that we can do. First, we'll do an exercise called doming. This is simply where you pull the ball of the foot back towards the heel by activating the muscles underneath the foot up in the arch. If you do it correctly, you should simply feel the muscles tighten in the arch. You shouldn't be trying to compensate with your toes or by lifting up any part of the foot off the ground. Another thing that we can do is called toe yoga. Now, this is basically place all your toes on the ground, start by pushing the big toe down into the ground, and then try and lift the other 4 toes up. Do that several times and then swap. So now you're pushing the 4 little toes down and lifting up the big toes. Something else we want to do is simply work on spreading the toes. Now, a lot of people can't do this because they spend all day in a shoe that constricts and squeezes their foot together. Initially, it'll be tough, but if you continue to work on these exercises, you will slowly learn how to activate these muscles over time. I've never actually seen someone successfully do any of them the first try. We have a muscle in the lower leg called the tibialis posterior. Now, what this muscle does, other than cause shin splints in some people, it assists the calf in lifting the heel up. So every time you step or with your stride, when your foot pushes off, this muscle's firing to help the calf move the foot. If it's weak, means the calf has to do more than it's supposed to. This muscle also helps to hold up the arch of the foot. So it's going to assist the calf in pushing, and then it's going to assist the foot in keeping everything stable there so we have a solid foundation to push off of. A good exercise to target this muscle is to do what's called ankle inversion. Set up a band and put it around the ball of your foot, and then pull your foot inward. Try not to rotate the leg as you do this. The movement should be isolated to the ankle itself. We also want to focus on strengthening the calf, but we have to be very careful when we do this. Remember that threshold we talked about earlier. When you strengthen the calf and the Achilles tendon, that threshold will get higher over time. But right now, it's likely very low, meaning that if we do too much with the calf, we're just going to cause damage and take a step backwards. Starting with the easiest exercise for the calf, this is a seated heel raise. Now, with no weight, it's probably not going to feel like much, but what you can do is place a dumbbell on your knee and just hold it there with your hands as you pump the ankle up and down. Now, if that feels totally fine, go ahead and try a standing heel raise. Make sure you do the motion very slowly because we want to increase the time under tension, especially for that tendon, because that's what's going to help it heal. Next, once that's too easy, work on doing a heel raise where you're biasing the affected side. So get in the same position as you would for the double leg heel raise. Shift your weight a little bit towards the injured side and then do heel raises like that. If that feels fine, we're going to shift and do a single leg heel raise eccentric. Now what this is you'll go up on your toes, pick up the non-injured leg, and then slowly go back down on the injured side. And then repeat. Next, if that last one felt fine, is to do the same single leg heel raise eccentric on a step. Now with the step, you're going to get a little bit more mobility in the ankle. It's going to make it a little bit harder. I would do all of these exercises both with the knee straight and knee bent if possible, because we want to bias both muscles in the calf as we strengthen the calf. Work your way up towards 2 sets of 15 with the knee straight and then 2 sets of 15 with the knee bent. Remember, you have to avoid hitting that painful threshold, otherwise you might be causing more damage than good in this scenario. Once you've done all of these things for several weeks, you'll likely be feeling a bit better, or hopefully feeling a lot better. This is the point when you can start thinking about reintroducing either running or the sport or activity that you were doing that was causing the pain in the first place. The key here is you have to have a very, very, very slow progression. If you do too much too fast, you will take a massive step backwards as you continue to overstress that tendon. Something else that you should consider eventually, if you're not doing it already, is focus on strengthening all of the other muscles in the hips and knees, basically the entire leg. We want the entire limb to be strong, because if one joint or muscle is weak, other parts of the leg tend to compensate, and then they are under more stress because of that weakness. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would appreciate if you could hit the like button. Otherwise, if you have any questions, you can put those in the comment section. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, I talk about how we can build and preserve our bodies so that they can last throughout our lives, so we can continue to do the things that we want to do.